All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. How you living, pal?
I'm doing well, man. Another nice sunny day
Why
here.
can't I see you?
I'm coming in now. Coming in hot, as they like to say. Getting ready.
Kitty not letting you in the club?
Yeah, it was not. He had the velvet rope out there.
No. It literally just popped up at 1 o'clock. Captain, I like to be.
That might be fair.
I like to be right on time, which.
Hold on a second. I've been in the
if I'm
building
correct,
with you for
on time means
plenty of
you are
time.
late. Early means you are on time.
Are you trying to put forth a blatant lie to slander my name? That I
No.
haven't been
Like,
here?
you are here.
I was talking
but
to
you didn't.
about business.
You were here.
Were we talking business?
Yeah.
Yes, but you have been in that room for 3-4 minutes.
Listen, my Surface on purpose. I've been leaving it in the studio, as you well know, already ready to go because this thing does it has a long
Takes a second to start
up period. Oh boy, does it? And so when I launched it, I had some troubles. Then it was saying I wasn't connected to the internet. Erroneous. Internet's all around me. It's everywhere. And then boom, it re-got it, and here we are. But no, come on. And you had me take it home for interviews that didn't even happen.
Yeah, maybe they'll happen today.
Erroneous.
Who knows?
Sad.
Sad.
Hate to see it.
I do.
Now, I have one other thing to say to you out of the gates here.
Yeah.
And it requires, and oh boy, is that a Henley? Is that a team-issued Henley you're wearing? Is this new gear?
It was 2 years ago, I want to say 2 seasons ago, and it was kind of they
No,
did
not in
this
my tenure.
yeah, for sure. Anarelli used to wear this all the time.
It's a good look.
So they did it in lieu of one of the polos last year or 2 years ago for the coaches on the sideline.
No.
This was like the sideline polo that year with no.
You're saying that's a Freddie Kitchens era?
I think that's probably right. I think it might be 19. I think
That feels like a Hugh era to me.
I think it's a 19. I think you might be right about that.
I'll be danged.
It's not bad,
Yeah,
right?
I like
high
it.
logo, small,
I like
good
it.
tight sleeves. You like a good tight sleeve?
Yeah.
By the way,
I like the subtle flex there, just to show the people, just in case they were curious.
Still there, still got it.
If it was there, everything's fine. You're safe.
I can't function unless I have a gripping tight sleeve. That has become
Really?
Yeah, I
Interesting.
can't golf if my sleeve is loose in golf. Forget it. I can't pong if my sleeve's loose. It needs to be it needs to be like a second skin. I can't have it moving around. It needs to be attached to me.
So you're ideally for you some sort of bike shirt like they wear in the Tour de France is what you want. Like you really want that thing just sealed on you.
When I was, let's see, it must have been in the year 2000. In the year,
Gosh, we were really worried about that, weren't we?
Boy, we were. It was a big problem.
It's a big deal.
Y2K problem. Look
Really
out.
were worried.
It's all,
look
it's all
out.
over.
The world's done.
It's ending.
But the computers, they go to 99. No one ever did do that. What are we going to do? Yeah, it's fine.
Turns out we were
We'll see.
fine. So in the year 2000, I was in Italy during the World Cup, and I purchased one of their kits, but I got like the authentic Nike kit, and that clearly the players of the Italian national team in the year 2000 felt like I do, because this thing, it's like saran wrapped on your body. It is like that. It's that tight. And my dad hated it, so I would wear it just to annoy him.
That's awesome. I have a feeling that was a Puma kit. I have a hard time thinking that that Italy was Nike.
I want to say it was a Nike though in 2000. I want to say it is a Nike. I haven't worn it in a while.
Stunning thing for me. I'm usually pretty good.
Like my oldest
So
Croatian
that was a
ones
20
are all
World Cup
Lotto.
or 2000.
2000.
So it would have been 2002 World Cup or 98 World Cup.
Well, I was there in 2000.
Had
Could
to
have
be
been 98. Could have been 98. Check 98. Solid.
Do you know what?
All blue Nike.
Well, hold on just
and kind
a
of like it was a lighter blue than I think normal.
You know what? You're right. It's a stunning thing.
Yeah.
They were actually Nike. It must have been just for like a year.
Yeah. It's a rare
In
one.
97, 98, they wore Nike.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. But my Croatia
Yeah,
from
that's
that
a
is
rarity
Lotto.
for them.
Remember Lotto?
Yeah.
My Croatian kit's
And that's
a Lotto.
honestly, so this has a collar on it? It has a collar on it,
It has a collar
right?
very similar to this. The one that I have is a collar. It's very similar to this, where it's kind of a collar, but it's not there. It's part of the fabric. I don't have the flop over. My flop collar is my Croatia Lotto kit. Has a total full on polo collar. But it's definitely Nike, and it is
Okay.
It is
it's
a light
possible. Okay. Now we're on to something. So it's actually, I'm going to say that it's the 2000. It's going to be the 2000 kit.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Because the 98 kit out of Italy, but that would have been for the Euros.
Okay, for the Euros.
So the 98 kit, the 98 Italy kit had a collar.
Okay.
The 2000 Italy kit did not. And it's exactly what you're describing. It's a lighter color.
Yep, that's
it's
it.
Kind of a mock.
That is it. 100%.
Mock collar on it.
I'm looking at it. That's it.
It actually looks like it's a Lotto or a Kappa.
Mine is definitely Nike though. I'll go look. Maybe it is. But no, it doesn't have that same piping like that. You see how that piping's coming down on the front?
Yeah.
It doesn't have that. Actually, it could be a Kappa now that I look at it.
Mystery kit.
No.
I think it's a Kappa.
I'm going back to it. It is Kappa. It's got those stars on the bottom. It's got yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, sure. You've deduced.
It's a
You've
Kappa.
Deduced. Kappa. We're going back to Kappa.
Yeah. Because Italy's was Nike. I didn't even know they were. They are never. They're never. Like they're always Puma, Kappa. They avoid the swoosh.
Yeah, no.
I was surprised they even had it for
Kappa.
97, 98.
Well, 2000 makes sense because that's when I was in Italy. So I think that was I had the year right. They were in
so
a
that's
tournament.
the Euros.
The Euros. So that's it. That's
That's
right
the
there.
Euros.
Yep.
Yeah.
And mine was of the light.
it's good looking.
You notice
kit.
in the pictures there are a couple different blues in the pictures. If you Google it, the 2000
Yep.
Italy kit. Mine is
I'm looking at it. Yep.
Mine is the lighter of the two colors.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is
Yeah.
on
It's
the
gorgeous.
players, those sleeves look
Good look for
awful
them.
loose. Not on me. Not because my arms are big either. It's 'cause
Not
this
on
shirt-
you.
It's because this jersey was just like, yeah, it's definitely the Kappa kit. You're 100%
Guns
right.
aplenty.
That's it. No, not then. Not in 2000. I didn't have any. I didn't even have like a water pistol.
Did you? Now that we've solved that,
Yeah.
Did you see this news out of ESPN yesterday in regard to the Manning brothers mega broadcast of Monday Night Football?
Boy, did I, and that was on the top of my list of things to discuss with you today.
Okay, I'm glad because I think you and I have a similar interest. This is a human being in Peyton Manning that can do whatever he wants.
Yep.
Very clearly.
Yep.
If he wanted to be in NFL ownership, I'm sure the Colts would take him. I'm sure the Titans would take him. I'm sure New Orleans would take him. Those are all places where he has connections. I think the only reason Denver won't is because they have such confusion in ownership and because John Elway's there, frankly. So he's kind of a man without a country. Now, what we know is that he loves living in Denver, and it's a great city to live in, so that's not surprising to me that he does. I'm sure his family loves it, and he loves living there. So he could get into ownership. He could run a team. I feel like, there are always rumors here because of the Tennessee connection with the Haslams.
Sure.
And so there's always been this thought that he would do that. The other side of it is, and I don't feel like this is overstepping, I think when he retired, if he wanted to, he could have had the number one color commentary gig at any network except for maybe Collinsworth, but I don't even know. He might have been able to even push Collinsworth out. I think he had that much weight. I think he could have pushed Manning out. He certainly would have got the CBS gig over Romo. I feel like he would have, certainly ESPN's tried to hire him a bunch of times, and he's shown not an interest in that. So he's kind of done this other stuff. So he's a spokesperson for Nationwide. They're great commercials. He's funny. He does this ESPN Plus series, Peyton Places, which I enjoy a great deal. It's great. And now he's going to do this. But he's not doing Monday Night Football. It's going to be him and Eli
Yep.
in their living rooms
Sounds like it.
watching the game. I wouldn't have had this.
No. Nay, nor would I. I also came away from it thinking this could be super fun. They don't name a host with them. I don't know. Does somebody need to be traffic cop with them? Or do you say just get out of the way, let it be these two guys talking. They're going to have celebrity guests and friends. They're going to talk about broader issues as well as some talk of the discussion of the game. I think it's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be interesting. I would want to watch it as a fan. This is what I would want to watch it for.
Yep.
Peyton stories and then Peyton and Eli's assessment of quarterback play and pre-snap things, anything that they're seeing to take me inside their brains. Just like when the Hoff did that, 20 minutes on everything he thought of before a snap and how fascinating that was.
Jeez.
if they can do that in real time during a football game, I'm all there for that. Totally.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's going to be like. I think it's very interesting. Part of me thinks this is going to be a smashing success because I don't feel like Peyton fails at anything. Eli has much more personality than I think people realize. I think they will be funny. I think there will be self-deprecation. I think there will be football insights to be gleaned from it. There's also another part of me that thinks, I don't even know. I don't know if this will be successful. I don't know what.
How do you measure it? How do you measure success?
Right. Who's the target audience for this? People like us, I think, who are way into football, I'm for sure going to give it a shot. Because every other game I can hear normal broadcast.
I have a couple of thoughts on this. Number one, it's abundantly clear watching Eli on social media and everything we've seen from Peyton since he retired is that while these guys were playing in the league, they expertly played the role of franchise quarterback and kept their sense of humor entirely on the shelf.
Yep.
Aside from an occasional This Is SportsCenter skit or an occasional gave you very little, just enough to let you know it was there, but very little. Their press conferences were very standard in their process.
Sure.
They were not big quote guys. It was very, Belichickian almost, the way that both of these guys approach the media. And yet they both have these tremendous sense of humors. So that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. Second thing I thought of is this is really a perfect way for the Manning brothers and ESPN to see if this is something that they want to do on a more permanent basis.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that is stopping ESPN from making the Monday Night Football booth these two.
Yep.
And nobody else.
Yep.
Nothing. So what this allows for ESPN to do is allows for ESPN to float a trial balloon up and say, let's see what this would be like. Let's see how these guys would do it. So they can float, because this would be the only way that Manning would need to do something like this. They would replace, and we love Louis Riddick. They would replace Louis Riddick and Brian Griese tomorrow with Manning and whoever play-by-play he wanted at ESPN, or they would go hire somebody to put him in the booth. They'd do it tomorrow. They would do it tomorrow.
Yep.
But this is a different thing. This is essentially two color guys calling the game. Two brothers. That unique circumstance, now you get a trial balloon on what that might sound like. And for the Mannings, it gives them a trial balloon to say, hey, maybe we would like to do this every Monday. Now, it's different doing it at your house as opposed to going on the road and going to games and all of the things that are required. But we've always just done things, like the announced teams that come out of 2 days ahead and do all the interviews. Maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you don't have to do that. If the Mannings can do this, maybe they don't have to. So I think it allows for both sides to kind of trial balloon this out and see if it works. The last thing I would say, I think when you have a good game, you're more likely than not going to go with the traditional broadcast. When it's a matchup for me, my hunch is that when it's a great game or one that I have some sort of interest in, I will go to that one, special interest. If it's just a normal Monday Night Football game that I just watch, I'll probably float to them and see what it's all about. I'm curious if it's a distraction. I'm curious how it works, but I think it's a great opportunity for both sides to kind of see what it sounds like and if we're interested.
So it being in their living room, I mean, do you think what camera shots are you getting? Are you looking at it kind of over their shoulders onto their TV?
I would say it'd be split screened. The game would be on the big screen, and they would be in the corners. Maybe the score's up, or they're in top corners, bottom corners, and they're in the screen. But primarily, it's the game, and then it goes to a full split screen in between shots, and when they show replay, but it'll be shot different.
It's got to be. My wonder is, and this is the analogy I was thinking of, is when you go to, let's say you go to a game and you are sitting in the front row, and I feel like when you watch now an NFL game on TV with traditional announce team, it is the experience like you are there in the best seat in the house. You have all the best angles on every single play, and but you're getting their commentary on top of it. But you're fully locked into the game.
Yes.
I wonder if this is going to be more like when you go to a game in a box And the game's there. The game's on TV. Your friends are there. There's the food there. You end up in some social conversations. So you don't really watch the game the same way.
No.
At all. Sometimes it even feels like
viewing experiences.
You're not at the game at all, even though you really are. And paying a premium to be at the game. Hopefully you've been invited to somebody else's box, and that way you don't feel bad that you don't feel like you're at the game. But I wonder if that's kind of the analogy that I would use. I wonder if that's going to be the kind of feel of watching him where the game is now not secondary, but it's not 98% the game, 2% the commentary. It's 50-50. Like I feel like the Mannings are going to be as equal the stars as the game. And so I just wonder,
good way to put it,
how that will feel watching it.
Well, a lot of the answering of that, which is a great question out of you, and potentially how they could go with it, a lot of that will be determined on how they shoot it.
Yes.
Because if you think of the standard way that we shoot NFL games, the announcing crew is almost never on camera.
Ever.
Almost never.
Right. In and out of some commercials.
What? In and out, not even going, really started a game, coming out of halftime, coming out, sometimes if there's a feature tossing to a sideline person coming out of a break.
That's it.
But like 5 times, that's it. So, like, are you going to, if you shoot the game that way traditionally and their voices are just there, I don't think you get what you want. I think what they're going to have is they're going to have them constantly or almost constantly on camera, and you will have, when they cut, will they show replay and show their reaction to replay, or do they cut to them in a wide shot and the two of them explaining what they just saw? So the production side of it is absolutely fascinating. And then finally, as we're talking through all of this, technology-wise, how do they make this work?
I don't know. And, I mean, are they going to have in there a whiteboard where Peyton's going to get up and diagram what just happened on a whiteboard?
Great point.
Is he going to diagram it right on the screen for you, but have it be much more of kind of, that look at a game? Because I think that there are people who just like the Mannings for their greatness, right? There's a segment that will appreciate the humor and comedy I think that they could bring to an NFL broadcast just through their natural personalities. And then there's going to be a segment that's going to say, I want what is arguably the greatest football mind to ever play the game. I want to hear his take on football. I want to hear the things that he's learned. One of the things that Romo does is so cool is when he sees certain things pre-snap, he can tell you exactly what's going to happen and why.
And that drove Manning nuts because when he did the thing with Tom, like they make fun of Romo doing that as if it's some big special thing. In other words, anybody could do that who played could do that.
Sure.
And so you felt like that bugged him a little bit that Romo got so much love for calling out the plays. Now, I give Romo credit because no one was doing that before him. If others could have done it, they chose not to. He had the guts to do it, and so I give him credit.
There are some quarterbacks who were in booths before Romo that were pretty accomplished. Gannon was in a Super Bowl. Burline was very accomplished. None of them did it the way that Romo did it. Nobody.
No, and I don't know if that's a lot of credit to Romo. It's a lot of credit for Nance for saying, yeah, go ahead. You can talk before the snap or right up to the snap. That's something that normal play-by-play guys, they don't have a whole lot of interest in that.
No, and maybe to Peyton and to Brady, they think that it's anybody who ever played the game could do that, but
true.
I don't. You know what? Next time we talk to Orlovsky, make a note of this, Gibbe. Put this on a stickum. Put them on a little sticky note. Next time we talk to Orlovsky, I'd be curious to get Orlovsky, who has really become a media star, where he thinks about that. Like what Romo does, is that impressive? Is he uniquely good at identifying these things and communicating them in a palatable way, or is this something that anybody who's ever played quarterback in the NFL at a decent level, or in Orlovsky's case, who was in the league for a long time and in a lot of film sessions and all that, could Case Keenum walk out there and do what Romo does right now? From just a knowledge standpoint, maybe not delivery, sure.
No. Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's why I said it takes both Romo's guts and want to do it and Nance allowing him to.
Yes.
Because Nance could say, no, we're not having that. You can't do that. You can't give up the play. The whole point is we're watching to see what happens. So, that's why this is all fascinating. It's all fascinating. And I did wonder coming out of it as we've hashed through it, if the end game is let's get them in the door and we'll give them the keys to the kingdom if this goes as well as we think that it will, and let them just call games. You will remember that Monday Night Football, when it was Don Meredith, Frank Gifford, and Howard Cosell, wasn't Gifford the play-by-play? I don't think it was necessarily Cosell all the time. And Dandy Don would do it from time to time. It wasn't just Cosell.
Yeah.
So it's just a different – Monday Night Football was founded differently, right?
Yes.
And so I'm very curious to see, kind of how this thing goes. It's a fascinating play, but it allows everybody to kind of see if we're interested,
I've found in the past, and you tell me what you think, but they've done mega casts for Super Bowls,
college football.
Yep. I've always found those fascinating to hear the discussion, but it's almost something that I would have wanted to watch in a replay watching of the game as opposed to trying to listen to all of that stuff and watch the game at the same time.
Agreed, and that is why what I said. If I have a vested interest in the game, I'm going to go traditional play-by-play because I'm into the game.
Yep.
So your analogy of box front row is a good one because when I'm into the game, if it's a team that I care about, if it's, a player that I'm really wanting to watch, a great game, I want the front row. I want the great 45-yard line halfway up experience. I don't want to be in a loge. If it's just a game and it's something to do on a Sunday, that's a loge experience.
Loge me, baby.
Loge me. Very, very different. And I'm curious. I think that's a good point, and that's why I said what I said. If it's a great game, I think I'm going to go play-by-play, and I'll see the stuff on social the next day that the Mannings did.
Yep, agreed.
I think it's going to be yeah, it's a fascinating play.
By the way, if you have another platform to discuss this on, feel free to take that. You can and as your own.
Yeah, I will. It's a shame that if I did have that this conversation, because I've had a variation of this conversation.
Boy, did you.
I feel like already today, but that analogy maybe wasn't all the way. Because some of the points are same, but then that one was. That's a good job out of you, private school.
The best part was in the middle of when you were going, and you said and then, and you had like a 4-pointer that you hit me with.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe he's run through these points before in an on-air capacity because you nailed it. I mean, it was so smooth, buttery.
I thought about the points. Those were in the moment. Those were in the moment points.
Huge
I
B.
did not present in
Let's
that
go.
way.
We're just over a week from
did not
camp.
present in that way.
We're ramping up.
I know. It's all going. We're all going.
B.
We're going to have a little fun today. We've got more questions. What question is this? Question 7 we're going to do today? Question 7 will come up here shortly. We've got a lot of news in around the league we want to get to. We got a little better or worse happening as well today on the program. Lots of fun for you, and we're off and running on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. If you live and breathe football, sometimes keeping your priorities straight can be a challenge. Unfortunately, the same can be true when you gamble. If you find gambling is affecting other parts of your life, get some help, get some tips on responsible gambling at KeepItFunOhio.com. Let's hit the OBM Hot Topics. Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider of your Cleveland Browns. Have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit OhioBusinessMachines.com. Let's do this in an around the league situation. So we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the White House. Tom Brady having all sorts of fun with Joe Biden, your president of the United States. With 40% of the people didn't think we'd win either were one of the jokes. Another one of the jokes was that after he lost track of the downs, he was called Sleepy Tom.
In Chicago.
So that was good, too. Oh, Gibby, we have the audio of this. Oh, I did not see that. Okay, if we have the audio, let's go ahead and have a listen.
But we found our rhythm. We got on a roll. Not a lot of people, think that we could have won. And in fact, I think about 40% of the people still don't think we won.
I understand that.
You understand that, Mr. President?
I understand that.
Yeah. And personally, it's nice for me to be back here. We had a game in Chicago where I forgot what down it was. I lost track of one down in 21 years of playing. And they started calling me Sleepy Tom. Why would they do that to me?
You're up.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. His former teammate, Matt Light, former Patriots offensive lineman Matt Light, on NFL Network just said, I think that was better than his SNL skits back in the day. Good timing, good delivery.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah, and good, not just timing in the way that it was delivered, but also in the setting. Like, you get one chance to do that, that's it. You're going to get one run at that, and he got it.
That's pretty big.
And took it.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's right.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. It became official. Melvin Ingram is a Pittsburgh Steeler. It's 1 year, $4 million. I'm not crazy about it.
Don't like it at all. Great signing by the Steelers. Great signing. If he stays healthy, he will give them as much as Bud Dupree and perhaps more as a pass rusher. Probably not as much in the run game, but certainly I think he will give him. They will give them more as a pass rusher. As the JYD walks by, let's go. Luminaries everywhere, getting fired up over a week. Let's go. I don't
Senior
like
swag?
Senior swag, yeah. Just walking right on in, strolling in. A nice Tuesday look.
Give it to me.
He's got it.
What's the end?
He had some nice pants on, just a button down, and some beautiful shoes. Always has beautiful shoes.
Of course.
As a former Brown once said to me, you got to bring the heat on the feet, and that's something that Senior Swag does with great regularity.
On the reg.
But Melvin Ingram, no need to be a Steeler. In fact, he's going to look ridiculously good in that uniform. Don't like it. Not a fan. But guess what? We've got two great tackles, so I'm not scared.
No,
it's a good signing.
It's not good either. And they actually, Highsmith was pretty good for them last year too. So he's still in the mix.
Yep.
Good three-way rotation there at defensive end. Go ahead.
It does show though that there was some kind of off-season anointing that they let Dupree go because Highsmith was such a megastar and they were just gonna transition right to him.
Yeah.
This shows that you can never have enough good pass rushers, and we talk about the Browns and the fact that now we've got Miles and Jadeveon, but also Takk McKinley, and I think you're going to see the more and more teams in pass rushing situations go with that NASCAR look, especially if you have guys that you can line up inside who can win. And Melvin Ingram certainly can do that. He's lined up all over in the place for the Chargers and been very effective as a pass rusher. And for the Browns, both Miles and Clowney can go inside and be dominant. But, I mean, if you're the Steelers, you're thinking in an obvious passing situation. So now maybe I've got, a Cam Hayward with an Ingram, Dupree, not a Watt and a Highsmith, all of them out there at the same time. Gives a little, just something for offense to think about. Good signing by them. Not surprising. They are going as all in as they can go. They still have, I think, some real questions on the back end, but that eases the loss of Bud Dupree, which was a loss that I thought was very apparent as the season went on once he was injured.
Yeah, absolutely. And for them, it's a nothing. It's 1 year, $4 million. I mean, it's a nothing. The idea that you can get a player of this caliber for $4 million on a 1 year is crazy. And Justin Houston's still out there.
Yep.
And he's good, really good. And you can get him on a bargain basement. And I don't understand how that happened this year. Is there just that many great edge rushers in the league that nobody needs these guys? I am surprised at the price and how little it is to get one of the most – if you're ranking positions in the NFL, quarterbacks 1, defensive ends 2.
Well, you saw some of those young guys get massive money early in free agency. Carl Lawson got big money. Hendrickson got big money. You saw a lot of those big money deals. And then, some guys that have shown now. Melvin Ingram's a 3-time Pro Bowler, but he got basically the same deal as Takk McKinley. He's older than McKinley, obviously, significantly so. But this is a 3-time Pro Bowler. This is a guy who's been a productive player in the National Football League. In fact, we looked at it yesterday. It was 17, 18, 19. He was a Pro Bowler. 3 of the last 4 seasons. This guy went to the Pro Bowl, working opposite Joey Bosa. Now he's going to work opposite T.J. Watt. Not bad company. Good signing, and I'm guessing for Ingram, he's looking to come in here, throw up double-digit sacks, and get one last big contract. And so I think he probably, I'm guessing, could have gotten more money elsewhere or waited and said there'll be an injury somewhere where I can now kind of name my price more. But I have more opportunity if I'm playing the long game, betting on myself 1 year with the Steelers. Just like Clowney, I think, was very happy to come here to say, I'm going to go be working opposite Myles Garrett. Same with Takk McKinley.
Absolutely.
That factors into these things. Good signing for the Steelers. I'm not going to, pretend it's not. It is a good signing.
Yep, it is. All right, this was this morning, and this was interesting. So when you heard this report from Adam Schefter that Aaron Rodgers turned down a 2-year extension with the Packers that would have made him the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL, would have kept Rodgers with the Packers for 5 more seasons, what is the first thing you thought?
He doesn't want to play for the Packers.
Yep. And anything else?
I'm not sure he's playing football this year.
And anything else?
No, that was it. What else did it make you think?
I thought this. This is what I thought. This is coming from Schefter, right?
Okay.
I think this is the Packers telling their fan base, it's him. We tried. We tried.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We wanted him for 5 more years. We wanted to make him the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL. We wanted him to be a Packer for life.
And
ignore the fact that we traded up to draft his replacement. Traded up. It wasn't Rodgers falling to them. Rodgers did to them when they had Favre. They traded up for his replacement. Ignore that. We wanted to make him a Packer for life. We wanted to make him the highest-paid quarterback in the National Football League. He said no. Be mad at him, not us. That's what I think this was.
So what's interesting about this is Pro Football Talk was talking about how Bob McGinn, who covers the NFL Draft and the Packers for The Athletic, reported this story back in May at the time that they had offered to make Aaron Rodgers the highest paid player in football. He says today's news isn't new. Obviously, Schefter's reporting is going to gather a little bit more attention. Well, clearly, it has gathered a little bit more attention than this. But here's what Bob McGinn wrote back in early May. In recent months, according to sources, the Packers have offered to make the 37-year-old Rodgers the NFL's highest-paid quarterback. The nugget that the Packers offered Rodgers a 5-year package technically breaks new ground. Still, the headline is nearly 3 months old. Schefter's tweet on the matter declares that Rodgers' decision to pass on the extension constitutes proof that it is not about the money. And I don't believe that it constitutes proof about that at all. You don't know what the structure – nobody knows anything about what that deal is. You
don't know anything.
Nothing. So it could be a 5 – it could have been all the money at the end. Who knows what it was from that standpoint. Again, proof is for me, the burden of proof means that it is a 100% unassailable fact that it has been proven to be perfectly true. I don't believe that sentence at the end of Schefter, much like Pro Football Talk, believes that part of it is true. Now piggybacking off of what you said about this makes me feel like they know he's not coming as of today, or they feel it is highly likely he's not coming.
Or they're hedging.
And they're saying, look, we did this. It was reported, but it didn't get enough action earlier, so let's get Schefter to say it.
Adam.
And now we'll get a lot of action. I like that.
Yeah, and this allows them to kind of push away and say, hey, we tried. It's not us, it's him. We tried. We wanted him a Packer for life. We did everything we could. And you talk to people up there. It'd be interesting to get Joe's take on this to see where people stand on it. Because my hunch is that I think in most scenarios it would be big pro player, but there it might be pro team. Everyone feels like they own a part of that team because there isn't central ownership. So everyone feels like they own a part of that team. So they're almost like a college team in that sense.
Yeah.
Where the helmet is worth more than the player, and their view is, well, the players come and go, the helmet remains the same. It's easy to have that opinion when you go Favre to Rodgers.
Yeah.
Without missing a beat.
That's right.
And it's not Montana to Young. It's not even what the Colts tried to do with Manning to Luck.
A big step.
Those were small windows. This is 30 years. It's 30 years where they've had these two guys.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I still think them winning
It's crazy.
and if his time is as over as it feels like it is, even though the only thing that makes any sense is him playing for the Packers this year at this point.
Right.
The fact that they won one Super Bowl with him, I think we will look back at as one of the biggest mismanagements and wasted opportunities in league history. Because I think he was that
I
good.
think if you extend that I agree with you, and if you extend that statement to say 2 Super Bowls with Favre and Rodgers in 30 years, that's as big a fail. That's equally as big. Because Favre's a top 10 guy, right? And Rodgers is right there, top 5, 6. I think Rodgers is better than Favre, but they're both multiple MVPs, at times the best player at their position in the most important position in sports, and they won it twice. That's organizational failure.
Yeah, sometimes the guys that people, they're so great, and they only win one, like Steve Young, then they got
Just
Joe
one.
Montana, just 4 in a decade, no big deal.
Slinging them.
Just that's it.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see
yeah.
here.
It would have been like if Young was like 24 when he got that job.
Right. It wasn't in the USFL. And they only won once.
Right.
Which, by the way,
Just
that
one
might
time.
have been the case because the Niners went into a dark period after that when the rules changed in the league in terms of how money could be allocated to one's particular roster.
Yeah, it did. It did. So there you go. Last thing here around the league, Cam Akers done for the year with an Achilles. He was great at the end of last year. Henderson was really good through the first half of the year, I know, because I had him in fantasy. And then they went with Akers, and Akers was great. Had a great game against New England where he's pretty dominant. But if you really want to know how important they thought he was, when they did their uniform unveil, they used him.
Yep.
It was him and Eric Dickerson. So that gives you an idea of what the organization thought he was going to be this year for them.
He was going to be the workhorse and very much the centerpiece of that offense. And for people in dynasty leagues and keeper leagues who are counting on Cam Akers, that's a bummer. And it's an Achilles. And I saw Grant Delpit, our guy, gave him a prayers up after this, and a guy who's looking to come back from his own Achilles tear 1 year at similar time. I mean, Grant's was even a little closer to the season, obviously into training camp, but. Yeah, that's a big blow. Darrell Henderson is the name. If he's somehow on a waiver wire and you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league, go grab Darrell Henderson. But, yeah, big loss for the Rams who are counting on him in a major way. And guess what? Even more pressure now falls on the shoulders of Matt Stafford.
Yep, lots on him. All right, we hit question number 7 of our 10 leading into camp. Coming up next, you're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
around the NFL Twitter handle. They've released a picture, and it was talking about Tom Brady joking, but it's a picture of a bunch of the Buccaneers with the President of the United States holding up his jersey. On one side of the President, you've got Bruce Arians, who's right in between the President and Tom Brady. And when you've got this picture up, so there are plenty of people of all different, obviously, hues on this dais. He's red. His shirt is Arizona Cardinal red, and he kind of blends in with his shirt. And compared to Biden to his left and Brady to his right, it's a pretty wild scene.
He looks like a guy who said, I don't need any sunscreen today because I naturally tan and I'm just going to work on a base, and then spent the entire day like at Cedar Point in July is what it looks like. I mean, it is bright red. And it, to your point in the break, it really matches his shirt, which is a Merlot, I would say, is the way I would describe that shirt. It's a stunning sunburn.
I don't know I know you were not much of a wrestling fan, but if you were to tell me that was brother love grown up a few years later, I love you. That's brother love right there.
That's a brother love hue to him. Yes. Was that makeup on brother love, or was that natural pigment?
Yes, that was. I think it may have been paint, let alone makeup. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. His face
I
was.
got to see a picture of brother love to see what we're dealing with here.
Painted red. I mean,
Let me see this guy.
I had to bring it up because.
Oh boy, it really was. I didn't realize. Gosh, I haven't seen it. Boy, his was painted on red.
But that is not that far off from the coach of the Super Bowl champions.
No, it's a dark hue he has in his plums there. I mean, that's a wild dark hue.
I'm baffled by it, to be honest. I had to bring attention to it.
That's a lot of time, on a schooner, a lot of time on a boat. It's a lot of reflection off the water.
But that would be
the other thing it could be.
We're in mid-July.
Straight up alcoholism.
We're
in mid-July. Extent that we've never seen before. Like just a consumption.
This isn't like going, south of the equator in February when your skin has not seen the vitamin D.
No.
This is a man who spent many years in Arizona and Phoenix and then Tampa. I mean, I don't know. It's a pretty stunning. It's stunning to me, and I feel like nobody's even talking about it. I'm concerned for Bruce Arians. I hope he's okay.
Are there responses to this tweet that would lead you to believe that people are alarmed by the hue?
There's only one that says, "Why does Bruce look like a tomato?"
Why Bruce look like a tomato?
But
Same
that's it.
Shaded his shirt.
That's really all. It really seems to be all anybody cares about in that one. I don't know.
I'll tell you, it's an aggressive shirt choice anyway. I mean, that's an aggressive shirt choice anyway, let alone when that is what's going on with your sunburn situation.
It reminds me one of my great friends at CBS Downtown, Dave Richard, who I worked with for many years there, and he would come on Tag Team Tuesday, so it's appropriate that we're talking about today. Tag Team Tuesday would come on my show on Sirius. And he used to wear sometimes a brown suit, and he had kind of like almost like a caramel shirt that if he was tan would kind of blend into it would blend. And our producer used to call him the Snickers because he looked kind of like a Snickers bar. I would call him the Snickers bar while he was doing those segments in that particular look. And in this one, it seems like he's matching. Is he a cranberry tart? Is it wine? Is it a deep raspberry?
It's a wine.
It looks like a nice vino, a nice Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
From the Willamette
Valley. I think
Valley.
That's where you are. Yeah. I think that's where you are. Throw in a little SPF, buddy. Throw in a little. That's all you got to do.
I hope
that's all you got to do.
I hope that's all it is.
The Biden really gets jobbed on being the 46th president. I mean, that's not a great number. I mean, he's stuck with all this 46 stuff now.
Yeah.
You know? Like, 45, not bad, but not great. 44 would be a cool. That's
great number.
You know, there's a lot of people. 44 is good. 42 is strong.
Great.
You get
Very
to wear a
historic.
42. That's
Yep.
a good look. A lot of prominent athletes have worn 42. 46, kind of
I think
on the 46.
You're not looking
Tough
at
number.
You're not looking at much until you get to 50 again. I think 50 is going to be that's the next big
Yeah,
one.
it's downhill.
Yeah, pretty unremarkable stretch.
Downhill. Not much to look forward to. I always felt like that when my brother and I, when we turn another year around the planet, around the sun, we'll say, happy whatever person is most prominently wearing that number.
Yep.
So when I was 32, it was Magic Johnson, and it was Larry Bird, and happy Larry Bird, blah, blah, blah. But then you start to get to a point where you're, and we're getting close to where you're about out of cool numbers to be. So that's where we are with the president.
I used to do that
46.
I would do for a good run on my birthday because always in the summer. I'd always throw a jersey of my favorite person of that year for my whatever year I turned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd go buy that jersey?
I often had many, like 40. I think I did Pat Tillman. 41 was Dirk.
Sure.
And then I did not do it last year, so now I've decided I'm too old to do that. But if I bring it back, I would have 42. I'd have found a Jackie Robinson or a Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott. I may have thrown a Ronnie Lott on.
Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get the white or the red Ronnie Lott?
I actually have a red Ronnie Lott. That's already in the collection.
Okay. A John Johnson 43 is pretty strong.
Would be nice. 43 would be. 43 would be your boy Kirk Gibson's favorite. A white Oakland Athletics Dennis Eckersley 43 is a pretty strong jersey.
It's sad that he's most known for that as opposed to his greatness. One pitch undid his entire legacy. I don't even know if people know he's in the Hall of Fame or that he won the MVP and the Cy Young in the same year.
That's right.
Yep. Kirk Gibson usurped him on that front. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, we will get you question number 7. We'll get you a little better or worse with Gibbe. We will rank our defensive backs. We got a loaded last hour of the program, kids. You don't want to go anywhere. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, second hour here on Cleveland Browns Daily. Beau Bishop for my great friends at EOX Vantage. And EOX Vantage connects core systems that don't talk. From reporting and analytics to insight and decision making, you can gain a more complete real-time picture of your business. You can eliminate the Excel nightmares that you know that you have from business practices and processes and visualize your important data in one place. Gain real-time insight to make data-driven decisions on performance through role-based visualization dashboards. With the EOX Vantage, you can benefit from lower overall costs, better alignment between technology and specific business needs, scalability, ease of deployment, and also management. EOX Vantage makes your data work smarter to move your business forward. You're all about growth. Your software should be too. With EOX Vantage, your company will scale effortlessly. Local presence, but a global footprint trusted by some of the world's biggest brands. All right, the question of the day, number 7 on our list of 10, which second-year player is poised to make the biggest leap? Okay, so you and I have discussed none of these, and so we've been the same on several, but there's no pre-talk, no chat, nothing. So I am going to eliminate Grant Delpit from this conversation because of injury. So I will not put him because, of course, he is going to make the biggest leap. He didn't play, okay? I've mentioned that I really like Donovan Peoples-Jones before, but I also think that statistically it's going to be hard for him to make a leap because of all of the talent in the room and just on the offensive side of the ball. Now, you could convince me at certain points that Jacob Phillips would make a big leap. You could convince me that there are certain other players, on Elliott, for example, but that's crowded rooms. So I'm left here answering this question with the first guy we took, and that Jedrick Wills, who last year, when I first saw him in camp, looked lost and played a season last year at a position that he hadn't played, ever, left tackle as opposed to right, and was never an issue, which is a tremendous compliment. And now I think to myself, Jedrick Wills has had an entire year, an entire offseason with Bill Callahan. He's had an entire calendar year now or better at left tackle. Biggest leap, and he was really good last year. Could Jedrick Wills become one of the top 5 or 6 left tackles in football? Yeah, I think it's in play. I do. So that would be my answer. But you could convince me of others as well.
Of course, Jedrick Wills should take a huge step in year 2 as he finally gets an entire offseason and continue to hone his craft as a left tackle. What Wills did as a rookie playing on the left side for the first time in his career is nothing short of spectacular. But if you were to ask coaches and front office members of the Browns, the question about a second-year leap forward, without a doubt, the 2 names you would hear the most would be defensive tackle Jordan Elliott and linebacker Jacob Phillips, both third-round picks in the 2020 draft.
So close.
Now, I could focus on Phillips, who was covered in the linebacker position battle yesterday, or Elliott, who will be covered extensively in an upcoming answer focused on the defensive tackle room. But I don't want to do that. What I do want to do
No, you don't.
is talk about Grant Delpit. So I'm going to do that. Because I don't know where else I get to talk about Grant Delpit in these 10 questions.
When else can I talk about him?
So
talk about him now.
I'm going to do that right now.
The double deuce.
Delpit was one of my favorite players, and I'll say, let me do it again. Delpit was one of our favorite players, thanks, Goose, in the entire 2020 draft, and I believe the Browns absolutely stole the top playmaker and a definite first-round talent in the second round. Now, we did not get to see Delpit play after suffering a torn Achilles early in training camp that cost him his entire rookie season. That only makes me want to see him more in 2021. Delpit was to be a key piece in defensive coordinator Joe Wood's defense as a safety who could play center field, cover the slot, blitz, and provide physical run support. If minicamp was any indication, Delpit looks ready to take on a major role for the Browns defense and to make a major impact while doing so. His speed and ability to close on the football were apparent in the Browns camp, and Delpit looks to be in even better shape after pouring his heart and soul into his rehab process. There are not many specimens as impressive as Delpit, who brings an eye-catching physicality along with his speed, and I cannot wait to see how Joe Woods chooses to deploy this talented playmaker. Delpit took full advantage of the opportunity to get every possible mental rep last year while remaining an active meeting participant despite suffering the injury, so he will be able to play fast immediately, according to defensive backs coach Jeff Howard. With such a loaded roster, Delpit is flying a little under the radar, but trust me when I tell you, all of our eyes should be on double deuces come training camp. So there it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I don't want to eliminate him. He should be eliminated. I don't care.
Right.
I just want to talk about
and
him.
I think it's fair. I love the way you did it. I honestly wish we could just put him in a box and open him in Kansas City. And I know it's not that fragile, and you can't do that with athletes, but it will be nervy because I know what he was capable of. I know what he was going to be. We saw it. We saw it. In the brief amount of time we saw him out there, you knew from the first second he walked on the field that he was different. And you say, well, how? How can you tell that? They're in shorts and helmets. You can tell. It's the same way that when we were at mandatory minicamp and we saw Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and we went, whoa. Some guys stand out even amongst greatness. They stand out athletically. Yes. I mean, these are the best athletes in the world, and you stand out amongst them. Delpit did that. He was bigger, stronger, faster than the people he was standing besides by a decent margin. And so that was devastating to lose him. We were excited when they drafted him. Obviously, I know we have the audio of that. We were thrilled when we got to see him and devastated when we lost him. And if he can be 90% of what he was, and God willing 100, I think he has a chance to be a superstar player for this franchise. And I hope that can happen because he's just a sensational person to just watch float around. The reason I went Wills, and you mentioned him in your thing as well, is I don't know that he gets the credit he deserves for what he did.
Agreed.
It's a remarkable thing to play right tackle. We talked to Joe about this. Joe had no expectations for Jedrick in year one. None. He said, this is going to be tough. It ain't going to look right. But by year two, remember, Joe, by year two, look out because he's got everything that Joe wanted. Remember how excited Joe was? Well, he
loved him.
Far exceeded what I thought Jedrick Wills would be in year one. Far exceeded. And was one of the best pass blocking, tackles in the league. It was great. So now you say, all right, a full year, now better than a year of playing left tackle. What's he capable of? And I think a lot is what he's capable of.
I think he has a real opportunity to take, like you said, to become maybe top 5 guy. This is something where he is not going to have to think nearly as much about what he is doing on the field as he probably did at points last year. And in fact, Joe Thomas didn't even think that there was, he said the first 6 weeks should be a train wreck, honestly. And he said then by about week 6, you should start to settle in. And it wasn't. He was just always solid and finishes the year as I think he was number 17 amongst all tackles in the NFL in terms of pass blocking at Pro Football Focus, which that's elite already. I think his run blocking will only continue to get better, more time with the technique. This is going to be, I think, a monster season for him. And I think he will very much be that bookend for a long, long time and take a massive step forward. I just wanted to talk about Grant. I think people forget.
So
of course you do.
Like, what am I hard at talking about Delpit?
No,
I love the kid.
2018, 10 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 5 picks, 9 passes defensed. Nobody had done that. I remember reading that. No defensive back had put up a 9 or more tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 5 picks in the same season. Grant Delpit did that. That's the kind of talent you are bringing to this team, and I am thrilled about it. But again,
do you remember how good he was in 19 in the SEC title game, the semifinal in the national championship game? Remember, he wasn't. Oh, he's not as good as he was the previous year in the money games.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he didn't miss a tackle.
Yeah, he was.
He was all over the field.
He was unbelievable in those games.
I remember telling you, hey, watch that number 7 guy. I think you're going to like
what
you see.
Watch out for that kid.
Watch out for 7.
You're going to like him.
Yeah. That's right.
You're going to like him. All that college football you watch.
You're
going to like him.
Dialed in. Of course.
Yeah. If you had to rank, just from a production standpoint, obviously, barring injury, Jed plays every down, never comes off the field. Who is Delpit 2? If everything goes according to plan, most snaps played. Is he 2?
It's a hard one for me to answer. I really don't know because they love Ronnie. And so
I know.
Is if Delpit has a training camp in line with the abilities that you and I believe that he will have, and then the 2 safeties that are out there all the time are John Johnson and Delpit, and then Ronnie's the one who comes in the 3 safety looks, then yes. John Johnson's going to be number 1. Number 2, I think, could end up being anybody from Delpit to Anthony Walker Jr. to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Denzel, obviously.
Yeah.
I think Denzel.
Clearly, yeah.
But we still don't even know really on the other side if it's going to be, is it going to be Greedy? Is it going to be Newsome? Is it going to be Hill in the slot, or is it going to be Newsome in the slot? Or is it going to be at times both of them in the slot with Denzel and Greedy outside? That's what's exciting. But listen, if you told me at the end of this season the 3 guys who play the most snaps for this defense would be John Johnson, Delpit, and Denzel, I would say we are crushing people and dominating as a defensive unit.
Fantastic analysis. I was curious about just the second-year guys, though. If
I thought you
Wills
said
plays
secondary.
the most,
Okay.
No. If Wills plays the most, and I think he plays every snap at left tackle barring injury, then who is second? Is it Delpit? Is it Donovan Peoples-Jones?
No, it's got to be Delpit from that group. It has to be.
It's got to be Delpit.
Has to be.
Barring injury.
Has to be. Elliott's
because Donovan
a
Peoples-Jones will have a chance to be the 3rd, 4th, but not.
Still a rotation.
Down the list.
The only other person who
but
has
the rest of those guys are too. Like Elliott and Phillips are going to be fighting like heck to get on the field at those rooms. Harrison Bryant too. Yeah.
Nick Harris not playing barring injury. I mean.
And we like all these guys.
Of course.
I understand the organization loves these guys. It's just how hard it's going to be to get on the field.
Delpit is the only one who has the opportunity, and I don't even know if they feel this way, but in my mind, he's the only one who has an opportunity to be an every down player. Wills and Delpit, that's it.
Yes.
That's the list.
That's it.
There's no scenario in which Donovan Peoples-Jones is an every down player. There's no scenario.
No.
I don't think unless, Elliott, we've heard a lot of talk about him, but that he becomes an every down player. And I think for Phillips, now he may go out there and win the job. Look, the Browns, it's going to be a competition. If Phillips and Owusu-Koramoah outplay Anthony Walker, or
that's it.
They're going to play.
Yeah.
But I would think, from a second-year standpoint in terms of guys, and I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. I thought we were talking like just the defense.
No. The other analysis was great too.
When you look at he's the only one who has a chance. I mean, Elliott's always going to be a part of a rotation. And that room, which we'll get to later in the week, that room is so loaded, it's hard to even know what the heck is going to happen.
Yeah. No, that's what I wanted to get to is that, because as much as we like all these guys, just getting on the field, it's going to be tough in almost every case. And we know the front office loves them. And we've talked about Elliott and Phillips ad nauseum, how much the front office loves them. But it's going to be hard to get to see the field, at those 2 positions. It's going to be a dogfight to get on the field. One guy who's going to see the field a lot is Denzel Ward. We'll do the cornerback rankings of our room. And Mr. Ward coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, it's certainly summertime. Time to open your windows. Let the fresh air in. Your windows won't open? Well, you're in luck. Buy one, get one is back at Weather Seal Home Services. Buy one Ultra Seal window, get one Ultra Seal window free. Buy 5, get 5 free. There's no minimum or maximum, so replace all your windows at once. Weather Seal's Ultra Series windows are strong. They are durable. They are beautiful. They're easy to clean. They're easy to open. And for the lowest monthly payments, ask about Weather Seal's exclusive 7-year, 0-interest financing with the approved credit. Weather Seal, locally owned and a name you can trust. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit WeatherSealHomeServices.com. All right, we're ranking corners today on our position rankings. Of course, as we always start with Jeremy Fowler, surveyed more than 50 league executives, coaches, scouts, and players. Denzel Ward, number 8 on his list. Highest ranking was 3, lowest ranking was 13. Last year was an honorable mention, just 24, hard to believe. But just 24 years of age. An NFC personnel evaluator said this: his ability to run with and cover people is what separates him. An AFC offensive coordinator added, technically, he's getting there, but he's a true press guy, and there aren't many of them. Lack of physicality is an issue, but he's athletic with good instincts. The Browns' pass rush will give him opportunities. Ben Lindsay of PFF ranked Denzel number 8 on the outside corner, and he ranked Troy Hill number 5 on the inside corner. Dr. Z.
I like it. And, for Denzel, I don't think it's a question of his ability in any way, shape, or form. It's, I think, the biggest question that the Browns probably have about him, or Browns fans, is, can we get 16 games from Denzel Ward? Denzel Ward, 13, 12, 12. He started 12 games each of his 3 seasons. So, all right, sorry. Can we get 17 games out of him? That's going to still take a while to get used to, the 17-game season. Can we get the full?
Take a long time.
Can we get a full season out of him? And I think that is something that, Denzel wants to do. I know that the Browns certainly want to see it, but this is, he's a Pro Bowler. He's a lockdown guy. I agree with one of the things there where they said that pass rush will give him opportunities. Denzel, 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions, 2 interceptions in his 3 years in his career. Gets his hand on the football a lot. 18 passes defense last year in 16 games, and 12 games, which is incredible. I think he's going to get an opportunity to get a lot more. The ball's going to have to come out quick. They're going to be able to play a little tighter when you're talking about Miles and Clowney and McKinley and Malik Jackson getting after quarterback. So I'm expecting a huge year from Denzel. There's no question when he's on the field, you always know it. And the other thing I would say is when he's not on the field, it's always very apparent.
Yeah, that's the big one. And I think it's interesting. The way he plays corner, it's not as noticeable as some of the great corners in terms of the interceptions and those type of things. But he is as good at mirroring receivers as anybody I've seen. And he's as good at the last-second pass breakup.
Yes.
He is so good in tight quarters. It's incredible how good he is with his hands in tight. At the very last, he has this instinct at the last millisecond to break it up, which is an incredible gift that you don't see a lot of guys have. And he does that as good as anybody. The interception numbers aren't there like they are for some. The big playability, all of that. But in terms of just give me a guy, I'll take him away and watch me break up passes, that's what Denzel Ward is. He's elite at that.
He certainly is. And in the notes in the Pro Football Focus article, Ben Lindsley noting that Ward's dominance in single coverage, and he says he has a 96th percentile grade since 2018, has been particularly noteworthy. That's right. Put him on an island. Let him do his thing. The people listed ahead of him, for those wondering, Jair Alexander, they have number 1, Jalen Ramsey 2, Marlon Humphrey 3, Xavier Howard 4, James Bradbury, who's played very, very well, certainly for the Carolina Panthers before joining the Giants, Stephon Gilmore, Tre'Davious White, and then Denzel Ward. And, he's allowed just 51% of the passes thrown in his coverage to be completed. And as he said, dominant in single coverage, an excellent player. And I think for the Browns, what you're looking at and hoping for this year is that you're going to add either a Greg Newsome or a Greedy Williams into this top 32 on the outside.
Yeah, and I think the other big thing about this is, and this is really a testament directly to what Andrew Berry has done, is that we have safeguarded against injury as much as you can. If Denzel misses games, and historically he has, if he has and everyone else is healthy, you're going as your other corners. You still have the number 5 slot corner in the league, according to PFF.
Yep.
You have a first-round pick in Newsome, and you have Greedy Williams. So even if there is injury, you've safeguarded against that, which is tremendous. We just talked about that with Grant Delpit in the safety conversation. So I think all of those things ought to give you great comfort. I do feel like this could be just a bust-out year for Ward. It's in the cards. It's all in the cards for our defense. And I think that you'll see a little bit of how Joe Woods had to create things last year, patchwork. He won't have to do that, and I think our best players will benefit. I think Denzel will benefit, and I think Miles will benefit. I think they will have monster years in this defense. I really do. Gibby asked the question, next to Baker and Miles, is Denzel Ward the one player the Browns can ill afford to lose to injury in 2021? That's a tricky one. Because kind of what I said with the corners, they're not. None of them are as good as Denzel probably now, but we do have 3 capable corners.
Yes, and that would still be a pretty solid cornerback room without Denzel. I think John Johnson's got to be pretty high on that list of a guy that you wouldn't want to be without, given what he's going to be brought in here to do for this defense. Be the guy that you're expecting to play every single snap for this defense. That would be a big one to me. You never want to lose, a Jed or a Conklin or a Batonio.
I was going to say, one of the two tackles.
One of the two
we like
tackles
Hudson,
on the
but
line.
that's too soon.
Right. So, listen, we've had to play without Denzel, and Frank, he wasn't able to play in our playoff win, against the Steelers last year. So we have been able to overcome the loss of Denzel. Baker and Miles are the top 2, and I think, as I like to say, third would be 8th in this case, because nobody is on the level of those 2 to what they mean to this defense. Now, we're better prepared to absorb a loss of Myles Garrett this year because you could still start 2 first-rounders out on the edge, but you'd get awful thin in a hurry at that defensive end position without them. I love Denzel. I hope he has a breakout year. I hope that Denzel is able to have one of those seasons where he just becomes regarded as such a playmaker, because I think the opportunities are going to be there for him to do so.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's you hate even having that conversation. Those are the 2 guys. But I do think that because when you start to try to figure out beyond Miles and Baker, it's really difficult. And it's a credit to what AB has done with this roster. That it's not just – it was something we talked about at minicamp when we saw everybody. It's not just the amount of talent. It's the amount of depth of talent, which is stunning, to where you could have a loss of a player here or there, and God forbid it happens, he's safeguarded against it, which is a pretty remarkable thing. So, but boy, I feel like Denzel could be a dude. I really do. Think he could have a monster year in this defense, certainly. All right, coming up at the bottom of the hour, a little better or worse with Gibby. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Injuries during childbirth require experienced counsel. Call the lawyers at Elk & Elk for a clear answer as to what happened during your child's birth. Elk & Elk, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio today. Time for a little better or worse or the sweet spot. Hello, Gibby.
Gibby.
Hola. Gibby. How we doing? Say
What's up,
sun's
buddy?
out. Third consecutive
well.
day. Don't call it a winning streak.
It's almost we got almost like some Los Angeles smog out there today.
Really?
There is.
Oh yeah.
I wonder where that's coming from.
Go look on
It
your
is a little
health
hazy
alert.
over
It's
here, yeah.
people who are sensitive today. Stay out of the air. That's what it says.
Or go live. Sun's out.
Yeah, that is.
Unhealthy for sensitive groups.
you do that
Air
too.
quality index 127, Gibby. This is
I
not a
wonder-
joke.
Oh, I know.
How's that
I used to be
possible?
held out of that. I had bad asthma
With all the
growing up.
rain.
I get it.
I don't know, but that's why. Did you see the sun this morning? It was glowing orange through the smog.
I wonder if that's. You think all those fires out west? Is it possible?
It's possible. I mean, they are big
That
fires.
happened a few years ago. That the
And it
smoke
moves
made it all the
west to
way
east.
here.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you get that red sun thing, which is, kind of crazy.
Kinda crazy,
So then maybe
yeah.
that is what happened. But yes, but it's interesting. So we have great weather this week, but the highs aren't that high. It's like high 70s, right?
Which is fine. You're safe.
No, agreed, but not a traditional summer.
No.
What July usually brings.
No.
July 20th. Yeah. No, it's.
Yeah.
I'll take
Wild.
this for a few weeks when camp starts next week.
Same.
I'm in.
Same.
Yes.
I would like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this would be nice.
All right, so a different, unique twist to higher or lower
Okay.
Better or worse?
or just right. I'm just ignoring you.
Okay.
This comes to us, from Bill Barnwell
Sad.
from ESPN.com.
Okay.
He
Double
ranked
B.
each of the league's 32 teams by their skill position talent without including the impact of the QB, offensive line, or scheme.
Okay.
Jeez.
His three...
Well, I'm glad we have ground rules on that because that is quite the caveat.
It is. He said this is only about 2021 performance. Wide receivers are
Okay.
weighted more heavily than running backs or tight ends. And he
Okay.
says not everybody who was considered gets mentioned. He focused on a team's top 6 weapons on offense and used depth beyond that top 6 as a tiebreaker. So that factors into things as well.
Wow. For the record, has Better or Worse ever had more precursors to a ranking?
No.
No,
There's
I'm
a
like,
lot
I'm
going on
taking
here,
notes
Barnwell.
here. I've already forgotten. It's too much.
Well, I sent you the link to the article.
I've got it. It's 38
There's a lot of
paragraphs about
caveats here.
all of this is what I've done. Okay, great.
Something different. So he has the
No,
Browns.
for it. It's just a lot going on.
Yeah, it is a lot going on. It's a lot on a Tuesday to process. I'm
Yeah.
Public school
All right,
guy.
let's go. Let's
Gonna
do
be
it.
struggling.
Same.
The Browns are number 4 on this list.
Okay.
Ahead of them are the Titans, the Cowboys, and the Buccaneers. So let's get things going right now. Play the sounder, Nick.
Higher or lower?
Number 1
favorite
is
play
Tampa
the
Bay. Number 2 is Dallas. Dallas, should they be higher, lower, or are they just right? Again, take out your quarterback, the offensive line, and the scheme.
Now, I know that he's saying that the receivers are the most weighted part of this, and I agree that the Bucs receiving core is incredibly impressive. But their running backs and their tight ends are
Very average.
very average. Now, O.J. Howard coming back could change things with the tight end. Gronk obviously had a great Super Bowl, but very average in my opinion. And I'm surprised, honestly, that they're number 1. And did you mention the Browns at 4, Gibby? You mentioned that that's where they came in.
Yes.
But how about this line? from what he wrote about the Browns before he even can talk about anybody else. The last sentence in the Browns write-up is as follows, and I quote, "If that Beckham shows up in 2021," and he's talking about the guy who tore up the league with the Giants from 14 to 16, "if that Beckham shows up in 2021, the Browns would have the league's best group of weapons on offense."
Well, it's true. But I also think that it's unrealistic. I mean, that's 5 years ago.
Of course.
So you don't even need that. You don't need 2016 Odell Beckham Jr. You need 2019 Odell Beckham Jr. 1,000 yards.
On a more consistent basis. That's right. Week in and week out.
Of course.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, you do that, and I think it's the best group.
Yep.
I honestly think for this. So the question was it Tampa Bay?
Is one.
Number one?
Dallas 2.
Dallas is number 2. Because everybody
So
seems
we're
to
doing
have Tampa
Dallas
Bay
better
as
or
their
worse?
number 1 and everything.
Well, I mean, just looking off of this, and I'm trying to process all of these caveats, but I would say that the Cowboys are probably sweet spot, and if I had to pick, I mean, honestly, the team right behind them's pretty dang good. With Julio and A.J. Brown.
Henry, Julio, A.J. Brown. They lost their tight end, though, Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, that's true.
And could we name their third receiver? I can't.
I don't know. Does it matter when they're going to be mostly just running Henry and play action to the other two?
No, but that means 2 of your 5 skills that are on the field at any time are tight end, Fursker and somebody else.
Yeah.
Not exact. I think we have the most complete 5 in the league. When we're trotting out Kareem, Chubb, Odell, Jarvis, and Hooper or the Chief. I mean, Hooper, obviously, the 2-time Pro Bowler. That's as complete a 5 as there is. The Bucs is pretty good, but I mean, Leonard Fournette is in a different class than Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt. As good as he played.
Yeah.
I like the
I think Dallas might be better than the Bucs. The Vikings is pretty good with Cook and the 2 receivers.
And Irv Smith Jr. at tight end.
Yeah.
So we're going to say they're in the sweet spot.
You almost have to remind it of how to get to. You have to remind it how to get to your. You got to get to 5. You know, and we did this with Bucky Brooks last year, and then he stole it. Remember our starting 5?
That's right.
And he just stole it right from us. So we said at the time that we had the best starting 5 skill position players in the NFL at that time, minus the quarterback and line and all of those things. And nothing's changed. If anything, we've gotten better.
All right. We'll go next on an awkward
Higher or lower?
The Browns are 4th. You mentioned Tennessee is 3. So Tennessee 3, Browns 4. Takes us to 5, the Minnesota Vikings.
So this is a group that earned its rankings on its big 3. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. Would you not rather have as a big 3 Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and even if it is Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I mean, so what? Travis Kelce's amongst...
Well, that goes to your...
How are they 6th?
That's the thing that's hard is the 3 to 5 is hard. And I in retrospect, bringing it back to Dallas's 5 is really good.
It is.
Zeke, those 3 receivers, and pick a the tight end.
Blake
Whichever
Jarwin,
one of the 3 that
Dalton
you want
Schultz.
is going to play.
Sure.
Yeah, Jarwin or Schultz or Goddard, whoever. Like, those 4, the Cowboys' 4 of Gallup, Cooper, Lamb, and Elliott is legit. That's really legit. And I think it's probably overall, I'd probably take it more than the Bucs as much as I like their receivers. I think that Zeke would push them over. But I do agree with you. So, yes, Minnesota's 3. I don't think Minnesota's 3. Is it better than even Tennessee's 3?
No,
it's not. But they are ranked behind them at least.
Yes. Honestly, I don't even think the Bengals are getting enough respect where they are. He made too many caveats. And to say it needs to be because Travis Kelce being what he is, yeah, he's a tight end, we say, but he's also a wide receiver. He led the league in catches of more than 20 yards a year ago. And frankly, having an elite tight end is, if you look at the teams that have him,
It's worth more.
You could say it's worth more than having a one dominant wide receiver. And so he weighted wide receiver rooms almost too heavily. I don't like the list. I'm just going to say I think the list is worse than it should be. I think it's confusing.
I think the thing that you have to try to do here is the way to do this list. I'm fine with him doing the list this way, but it should just be best skill position groups in the NFL minus quarterback and offensive line.
Right.
That's the list.
Take an average.
But of course you have to take in scheme. You have to take in what they play in. Because in doing what he's doing, he's taking credit away. Travis Kelce's the best example of that. He's taking away the importance of Travis Kelce. Derrick Henry's another example of that. When you take him out of the scheme is going to be, they're going to be in traditional sets with him and the two receivers, and that's what they're going to be in most of the time. So it limits those guys a little bit. To me, you have to take scheme into account.
I almost think if you start with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, the people around them are going to be naturally better anyway. Like, that's the most dominant skill tandem, I think, in the league.
I think that might have been one of my biggest takeaways is his Kansas City evaluation. At the very end, he goes, Kansas City would have arguably the league's worst depth chart at wide receiver or tight end if it lost Hill or Kelce. There does not seem to be a whole lot there on that offense. Now, I understand the guys that we're talking about.
It's like saying the Cavs in the late 2000s would have been bad if they lost LeBron James. Well, yeah, but they're that good.
Yeah, and I actually think that, those two guys are just so ridiculous and really Kelce's the most important as Hill is. I mean, those two are so important, but it also is Hill as valuable if he's not playing with a guy with a cannon attached to his shoulder who can throw it from any angle at any time.
Sure.
Not. He's not. That's the one place, and there's a couple others, where he is going to have the most value is there. Yeah, it's tough. It's a bit of a tough way of going about it.
This is what I think he should have tried to say. If every team in the league had the same quarterback and the same offensive line and the same coach, and you got to have these 5 skill players with them, which team would you think would be the most successful?
Okay. Yeah.
And then I think
that's a good way to do it.
We can run it. We can throw it.
We're there.
We're there.
Dallas is there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kansas City's there just on the strength of those two. You want those guys on your football team.
Kansas City's there.
Where does he have Miami?
Oh. Not close to
he's
the
getting
top. Can I interest you in, as I get there?
21st?
21.
Okay, wait a second.
That's crazy.
They've got Devontae. He said receivers are weighted the most.
Yes.
You've got Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, and then Gesicki at tight end.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing they don't have at just a ridiculously elite level is running back. But everything else
is pretty good.
I mean, their receiving core is dangerous. If you put Deshaun Watson on that team, like was rumored, that's a contender.
Wait a second. He's got the Broncos at 17, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Melvin Gordon, and now you draft Javonte Williams and Noah Fant?
And he's got Arizona at 18.
DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore. They don't really have a tight end, to be fair. They've got Chase Edmonds and James Conner.
But they don't play with one either.
Right, they don't play with one, so it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, this is a bad list.
It's okay. That's it. Sometimes they
Hold on a second.
This might be the worst one that we've ever
You're
done.
no blame, Gibby, by the way.
You.
This is no blame of yours.
No.
The Washington football team, he has it 24. I believe, this is me talking, their top 4 is a top 10, top 4 in the NFL. McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, who was a beast last year, and Antonio Gibson, who was great last year.
Yeah, they're very
They're
good.
24th? That doesn't make any sense to me.
There's some head scratchers. Quite a bit, actually.
I mean, the Steelers' skill guys are pretty good, too.
Yeah. Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. This is
Baltimore's is nothing to is pretty good.
Mark Andrews,
with
Watkins,
and
Bateman,
Marquise
Hollywood Brown,
and J.K. Dobbins,
and Gus the Bus.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's. I just. Boy.
I like the idea of if you could pick 5 guys, you have to pick. I think that's the list is 5 guys from any skill group in the NFL with fill in the blank quarterback. Who do you take?
Yep.
That's the way to do it.
Yep.
I think and I think, by the way, he does get the bottom of this exactly right. Houston, dreadful. Lions, dreadful. Jets, dreadful. Eagles, dreadful. Like those teams from a skill spot are as bad as they're as bad as we've seen it in some instances.
Yep.
The lack of talent in those teams.
It's stunning, and it's. I know that we feel like we talk about Jared Goff a lot, but what the heck are they doing for Jared Goff? How are they giving him a chance?
Not.
I think they're sleeping a little. This is wild to me. The Eagles aren't bad either. I don't know who's throwing the ball, but if you said, let's just put these guys with a solid quarterback, Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, who played very well for them, and then with Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert, I'm pretty
sure. That's okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not 29th in the league.
No, I actually think New England's is worse.
Aguilar, Bourne, and then you've got the 2 tight ends now, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, and Damian Harris.
Okay.
But receiver, if you're waiting receiver, they should be at the bottom. Who's worse receivers than them other than the Lions? It should be the Lions, and then if
that's it. Come on, Billy boy, do better.
He won't listen. He doesn't return Gibbe's calls.
He really does a fine job of stonewalling me.
Oh, he's the one?
Oh, my, he's the white
whale, man.
He's the white whale.
Oh, he's the one. All right. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Runs Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And how about this? There is so much more to come.
Oh!
Little announcement. Oh, boy.
We're not just saying
what a
that.
treat. No. Sometimes. You never know, kids.
Never
and
know.
I'll make sure we get to this before we run out of time. We have added a 13th free open training camp session. It is something we like to call the Orange and Brown Practice. It is Sunday, August 8th at First Energy Stadium. It is a noon start on that. I think it's best if you go to the Browns mobile app for the details on how to get tickets, where to get them, when you can get them. But that is the headliner here, is the Orange and Brown Practice is set. It is set for Sunday, August 8th, and it is open. Tickets are available.
That's right.
Go to the Browns mobile app. Get the details, kids.
Get there, and the other thing that happens, and this is so fun, the Cleveland Browns Foundation will also host its annual locker room sale in the 7-Up City Club during the Orange and Brown Practice. All proceeds from sold merchandise, including previous season jerseys, apparel, promotional items, former player-signed items, will benefit the Stay in the Game network. So while First Energy Stadium is a cashless venue, the locker room sale is a special cash-only opportunity and will be accessible from when gates open until the conclusion of the event or when inventory is no longer available. There's cool stuff. There's usually cleats, jerseys, practice uniforms, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you are a memorabilia person like myself, definitely something to check out there. But, yeah, the Orange and Brown Practice, First Energy Stadium, noon, Sunday, August the 8th. Let's go.
Wow. Nice. Going to be fun. Going to be a fun one. This is going to be here quick, man. It's hard to wrap your head around where we are, but we are what is today, like the 20th?
That's right.
20th?
That's right. Exactly.
A month from now, we're getting ready for preseason game number 2.
Ooh, the G-Man.
Wow. Look at that. Going to be crazy. Going to be fun, and look forward to this. And it's going to be a fun end of summer for all of you getting you set for this game. We look forward to be there every step of the way. So there you have it, Orange and Brown Practice. First Energy, Sunday, August 8th. Get to the Browns mobile app and get the details on that. The details on what's next